you, thank you.
Yeah!
That's my baby. That's my baby right there.
I am. She's speaking truth right now. Okay, so like I've been basically performing mostly with Out Loud and doing the poetry slams. So I know some of you all are familiar with me, but those that that are just hearing me perform today, I just want to let you guys know now. Pretty much like 90% of my writing is based on like things that have happened in my life or things that go on around me or different observations and things like that. So if this is your first time meeting me, you're about to get to know me really, really well. But I'll start off with a few introductory poems, if you will. I'm shameless on stage. All my rage, pain, and sexual craves are put on display. Typically, I'm a pretty private person, but when asked to spit a few verses, it becomes less about being perfect and more about purpose. Less about what's on the surface and more about lessons learned. During the day, I may regulate what I do or say, but by night, I moonlight. With the mic in my hand, everything feels right. My life is nothing short of an empirical miracle. My lyrical flow tends to leave a lasting impression, but it's just a reflection of my life. Without question, I want to do this right. I'm not chasing perfection. I just want to make all my wrongs turn right.
Yeah!
Y'all gotta stop clapping for me. This is blowing up my ego too much.
Mine too. Mine too.
Okay, this one is called 9 to 5. Oh, and a quick thing. I don't know why, but I really like this one. I did it literally almost this time last year. And so I just think it's really amazing the difference in my writing and how it's kind of developed. So this is me, because I've only been writing for about a year. I've been performing since the beginning of the summer.
But you're really good.
Okay. I don't know no 9 to 5, only choosing sides and late night rides. I don't know about taxes or faxes. I know about being happy but not relaxing. I'm always racing against the earth, against myself, against my worth. I don't know about sleep, but I know about dreams. I know what it means to be seen, but not for who you are. You gotta make a scene be obscene for them to know that you're a star. I'd rather my words be more potent than my clothing, but if I had the option, I'd choose both and live life out in the open. I don't know a father's love, but I know about dimes and dollars and doves. Yeah, I know about drugs. I know what the back of a squad car feels like. I know the sting of a knife, and I'm just now starting to learn about life, but my life is like a light that flickers in and out, but sometimes it shines bright. And maybe by the end of the night, I'll find a way to make everything all right.
Yeah!
This next one, y'all might be familiar with. It's actually the first poem I've ever performed, ever. It's called Empty Coffin.
Yes, yes.
I need a purpose. I need a reason. My feelings change like the seasons. Otherwise, say goodbye because I need to find the whys. Why am I here? Why do I feel this way? When I'm alone, I use these notes as a diary, then occasionally aspire to turn it inside out and use it as a money tree. My sins are purged as the pages fall, each one lined with a bit of me. Prophetize off my problems as if it could one day solve them. No, I'll still be manic, nomadic, sporadically spastic, but I'll have made it, the concerns of which is what made me the way that I am. But each time I write, I take a little piece of myself and I rip it out. I throw it to paper in a horrible mess, then I fix it, edit, and clean up the rest. And to get to that place where I can share these pieces of my inner workings, I meditate so hard you'd think I was meditating. And while it would appear that I'm closer to God, it's not in the way that you'd like. It's in a way that you'd light candles and cry, putting flowers around my casket and ask why. Why is there inside nothing but a shell? Because I have shelled out everything I have left to give to this world in order to make my mark. So by the time the leaves on my money tree start falling, they'll be falling into an empty coffin.
Woo!
That's my mom. Okay. This next piece is called Invisible Enemies. Everything's changing. Shit just ain't how it used to be. Stuck in a web of complacency and there's no one left to save me. Everything's going fine. I've got every reason to be happy. But in the back of my mind, there's a demon inside, sabotaging every single action, every interpretation of human interaction. I feel like everybody hates me. I'm at war with myself. I know I'm the cause of every one of my flaws. I've got no one to blame and no one to help. I am literally sad for no goddamn reason. How can I fight a demon that knows my every weakness, including the fact that I can't even see it? I also write about my ex a lot. Now, how many of those I'm going to perform tonight? I don't know, because there's a lot. But this particular one is called We. What we had was so beautiful, like roses in bloom. We matured from young buds and intertwined as we grew. The lessons we learned, like students in school, you taught me and I taught you. I thought we had it together, all the storms that we weathered, to the summers when we blossomed in all our shared adventures. But it was just an illusion. I'd been so deluded. My judgment diluted. You broke down my walls just to build up new ones. My mind was on lockdown. My family and friends were all locked out. All advice and warnings I had quickly shut out. I thought it was to keep me safe, but you just wanted to keep me away. Our relationship was prison, and it'd been years since I'd seen the light of day. I became a slave to my rage, just a pawn in the game that you played. Through all the bullshit I stayed, but you're not completely to blame. The writing was on the wall, hung up and framed, and still, I chose to stay.
Woo! Yeah.
Okay, and another popular one. It never had a title, so I'm just gonna go by I guess the literary rules, so you use the first line as the title when you don't have one. And so this one is called You Don't Like Me. You don't like me. You like the idea of me. You like the bright and wow. Excuse me.
Take your time.
You don't like me. You like the idea of me. You fell for the identity you made for me after watching for so long. You thought you knew who I was, but you barely scratched the surface. Not a soul on earth could tell you I wasn't perfect. You nicknamed me Sunflower after the way I stretched myself up to the sun to catch its rays. You liked the glimmer in my eyes when the light hit them that certain way. You said my smile made your day, and you liked how I always had a kind word to say. But when my skies turned gray, and my eyes became clouded, and my body filled with doubt, and my mind overlapped with racing thoughts so fast they crashed into one another, you didn't know how to pull me from the wreckage that was my own mind. You couldn't love me through the emptiness, through the times where the only things that filled my chest were those same doubts weighing me down with every breath. No, you didn't love me. You loved the idea of me. You loved the brightly colored flower garden that stretched as far as you could see, but you still couldn't see me. You only loved the sunflower that blossomed just for you. You adored my bloom, but you ignored my roots. I don't think that one as well. You know what's funny is I said I wasn't going to be that guy that just has like all their loose leaf papers falling around and everything shuffling them. That's me tonight.
That's you.
We feel like you.
Thank you. Okay.
Who has striped you?
One second. Found it. It was worth the wait, I promise. I like this one. Okay, so a little background about this one. Coincidentally, I wrote it, finished it the day before the Orlando shooting. So, and I performed it the same day of the Orlando shooting. This is for the church signs I see on the way to work every day. This is for the love who you want, just not all in my face. This is for the shit that I take that I'd never have to face if I were straight. To hear in the sermon that who you are is not okay, that this part of you is just a phase. All the labels that seem to define you are then labeled wrong in some way. What a world it is for someone who is young, black, and gay. When protesting for the same rights makes you victim of hate crimes, when all you want is acceptance, but it comes at a price, it's being paid for in blood, sweat, and tears, and the cost is way too high. I carry this shame like a ball and chain. It's with me when I wake, till at night when I lay. I'm tired of breaking my back, bending over backwards, trying to fit these impossible standards of how I'm supposed to act. I loose these shackles around my mind, placed there by expectations that weren't mine. I break free of these chains of shame for us not being one and the same. I stand tall in my blackness. No longer am I a slave to the labels and expectations that made me this way.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah. Okay, so I have just a general idea of the ones I'm gonna do. Okay. This next one is called Essence and Existence. Before your essence and before your existence, you are mere concept. An abstract and intangible emotion fabricated by my imagination, nurtured by devotion. Your body is a blank canvas, begging to be touched by skilled hands. I use your mind as a muse from which my creativity flows freely as a brushstroke to paper, while your boundless grace creates the foundation for a humanity unshaken. Pictures taken can't properly portray the artistry of my naked fixation. Patiently waiting for the perfect moment to be taken, captured and encapsulated in an hourglass and appreciated. With each step, you begin to manifest. Your eyes serve as the ultimate aphrodisiac. Through these two endless pools of black, I can see the beginning of time. A narrative unfolds as the stars align, combine and collide with the forces of fate and time, creating the universe that now stands before me. I close my eyes and begin to imagine the true essence of your heart, realizing we don't make love, we make art.
Yeah.
Okay. This next one is called Like Minds. That night, when our eyes met from across that crowded room, I was soon consumed by you. Your gaze had me entranced in a never-ending romance, or at least that's what it felt like. I leave and you do too, two lone souls passing by, clutching on to the stillness of the night. The imprint of your skin from where my nails dug are imprinted in the back of my mind. Bass thumping out of my mind sends vibrations to locations yet unexplored, but with patience, growing lust and deep temptations. The tension is broken when the door is opened. I can breathe again. I can see again. The world has meaning again, and when I take one last look back over my shoulder, we both know this isn't over. This next one is called Nikki. We might not be doing Nikki if I don't know. No, we're not doing Nikki.
Okay.
Give it up.
Hey, that actually helped. I remember it now. Cool. See, I'm telling you guys, your applause fuels me, so believe me, I got you. When I had you on my lips for the first time, I felt divine, your slender beauty and exquisite design. I'm blessed to call you mine. Can you imagine the passion, the fire that lights the night sky, that punctures the stillness of the night, and to feel that kiss of death? I love the moments when we share the same breath, and to feel that kiss of death, like you're the only part of me I have left. They warned me about you. They said you were never good for me, that you only end up hurting me. Now I'm stuck with this dependency. The thought of you sparks temptation, a siren song that's going on in a non-stop rotation. You're everything I crave, it sings. To you I am a slave, I sing. But I feel a bit betrayed by things that could put me in the grave, it seems. But I'm a slave to the nicotine.
Yeah.
So like I hate to go from like, you know, lovey, romantic, sexual, whatever you want to call it, to like back to negative again. But that's what we're gonna do.
That's life.
That's life. Okay, so this one is called Dysfunction. And like I said, I write about my ex a lot. I guess you're having a bad night, so you decide to pick a fight. Of course, it's over something small, but still big enough for me to get involved. And over time, I've come to find that my frustration is an equation that can be quantified and calculated. If you take the number of times you compare me to my dad by saying that I'm just as bad, and about how we're just alike, or that loving me was a mistake and that your mom was right. And don't forget the empty threats, like the one with the knife, where we both know you won't, but then again, you just might. Now, you know shit's fucked up when I'm the one that has to keep the peace. Like, baby, please, can we just take a step back and breathe? I need my space, but you won't let me leave. You block the door and take my keys, poke and prod until I hit my peak. Everyone has their limits, and with you, mine are easily reached. Now we're worried about police and whether or not we'll lose our lease. I don't want to be on the streets just because you wouldn't leave me be. Baby, please, get out my face, I say. I don't want to hurt you, but if you don't get out my way. It's this type of dysfunction that I function under day after day. It's easy to say what you would do if you were in my place, but when the devil is staring at you right in the face, would you really have the strength to turn and walk away?
Say it, girl.
Yeah.
And now we're back to positive again.
I wonder where she gets this from.
We'll say it's from my mom. Like,
Yeah.
I say I got a little bit of her in me. Okay, this is a rather short one. It's called Abstract Concepts. Beauty can't be defined by one mind. It can't be confined to one place at one time. Rather, it is seen in all things. Beauty exists everywhere we may perceive it to be. Because perfection is based on one's own perception, only then can we calculate the true place of beauty's inception. Fun fact, that poem was actually inspired by my philosophy teacher. Not that she was the most beautiful person, because she wasn't. She was short, and older.
Yeah.
And she had a stoma, and she was mean, but she challenged me like crazy. And there was this one thing that she said. It was a concept that I had to keep writing papers over and over and over about. It was the question: can beauty exist in more than one place? And that's really more. You kind of had to teach yourself about aesthetics and all that other good things. So that's where that came from. Still looking for the next poem. I'm sorry.
Interesting fun fact.
Right. Okay. This is one that I wrote for my mother on Mother's Day, and surprised her by performing it on the radio on Mother's Day. And she just so happened to be in the radio. She didn't even know I was coming that day. It was great. It was like one of those picture perfect things that I should have had somebody record it, but I didn't. But it was still beautiful, and I remember it up here. But the name of this poem is called Thank You. Your heart of gold and beautiful soul makes this broken home feel whole. You know just what to say, just how to phrase the letters you arrange to make my day. Your love comes without strings, and for that, I'm eternally grateful. Your light shines bright in a world so hateful. Your life gives me light that I use as a guide to follow in your footsteps. You know that I'm wonderfully imperfect. You help me live a life of purpose. You got me started when I didn't know where to begin. You built me up, you showed me love, and you strengthened me from within. And even though I turned away, I thank God every day that you chose to stay. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for loving unconditionally. If you guys knew the hell I put my mom through, and continue to put through, might I add, but just less, you would know why that poem is just like so bright. It's just so great. There's another one I wrote. It's called Rock Bottom. Another fun fact, 2 fun facts. I wrote that based off of, it was inspired by a quote that I'd seen by the chick that writes Harry Potter. I know, J.K. Rowling, that's who she is. But yeah, and she said, rock bottom was the foundation to which I rebuilt my life. And it goes, I haven't hit rock bottom. I'm not out of options. Let the doors slam in my face. I'll keep knocking. So determined to get where I'm going, I'm sleepwalking. Distraught, disorder, disarray, that's one description of my world, a taste of my average day. I was taught differently growing up, but the textbooks don't match up with real life. There was no chapter on dealing with strife. Art class didn't teach me how to draw the line on what's okay. And I know I'm not the only one with these kind of problems, but with no one to absolve them, I'll just keep moving anyway. I'll just lace up my boots and keep climbing. Through it all, I'll keep striving for no one else other than me, because I have not hit rock bottom and I have not hit my peak.
Yeah.
The second fun fact that I failed to mention was that was the first poem I had ever performed or ever said out loud. And I shared it with my mom. I don't know why I felt the need to, but like I shared it with my mom in her bedroom, and I was nervous. I was so nervous, even though it was just her. And like she liked it so much that she made me say it again, and like she recorded it and sent it to her friends.
Yeah, video on my phone like right now.
Okay.
Like 2 more.
2 more? Perfect. That lines up perfectly. And this one, again, was one that I swore that I would never perform, but I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And this is also one that I performed at the Poetry Slam a couple of days ago, last Sunday.
I just watched the video. I just put it on YouTube because I liked it a lot.
Oh, awesome. So if you happen to like this one, you can get to see it again and like when you get home. But I actually wrote this one about Out Loud, Huntsville, and the Poetry Slams because it's all so beautiful and wonderful, and it really it made me the poet I am today. There's a bittersweet beauty in watching a heart break on stage. Take me back to the place where your innocence was first ripped away. Take me to a time when love was blind. Strike me to the core with bitter truths of life. Open your mind to the multiplicities of life. Open your heart and paint every shade that you find. The moment your true being shows, painting brokenhearted rainbows across lilac skies. Deeply residing within the human psyche is a hope to find another like me. Finding reasons to go on through shared experiences of kindred spirits, I pour myself out before judging eyes in hopes that I might find another of my kind.
Yeah.
And okay, so this is the last one that I'm going to do. Really lines up kind of like the timing is excellent, surprisingly. I really wanted to end it on a good note, so that's why I was saving it.
Another fun fact, I sent that video to a lot of people too.
You did?
Yeah.
Wait, the video you took like last week?
Yeah, like it went out.
Including me.
It went out like last.
Okay, what she's talking about, okay, so after the poetry slam on Sunday, I won, and I performed, and she had never heard that piece before, so I let her hear it, and she's like, well, I want to record you so that when you're in Birmingham, I can listen to you, over and over again when I can't see you. I did not know she had sent it to anybody, but I don't mind. Okay, so this next one technically has two titles. It's called A Letter to My Past Self, and it's also called Reminders because I still sometimes have to remind myself of these things. Baby girl, you gotta be more direct. Say what you mean with no regrets. There's no reason to stress. You have no one to impress. Baby girl, you deserve the best, so accept nothing less. Put all of yourself in everything you create. You have far too much potential to let it go to waste. Be careful who you let in your space. Your energy is sacred. Protect your vibes. Not everyone deserves your time. Sometimes you gotta be the bad guy, and that's all right. Be on the right side of pride. Value yourself. But realize you're not always right. Humble yourself. Baby girl, you're a multifaceted diamond in the rough. All you need is a little love. All you need is a little time. Your beautiful mind shines bright. All you need is a little light. There's a fire burning deep down in your soul. Embrace it. It's who you are. Never let it go.
Yeah!
Watching me perform and reading my poetry and dealing with me flipping through all these pages. My mom says that she says I should use my phone, but I prefer paper. So, but really, thank you all for coming out and seeing me and all these wonderful poets that came out tonight. So, thank you.
Yeah.